Stephen and Shannon Lyon have operated Suncase Blueberry Farm since 1974. We have 347 acres, of which 150 is in production for blueberries. The other acreage is a tree farm, and we've been growing blueberries all that time. We sell probably 80 to 90% to Wyman's. We sell to a winery and anywhere from 10 to 30,000 pounds a year. And then I fresh pack here on the farm. Weather would be the biggest risk, but probably the second biggest risk that can be pretty devastating is the fluctuating prices of blueberries that we have absolutely no control over. But we've had spring frosts. We've had frosts right on the 19th of August that took a third of our crop one year. We've had winter damage that was in excess of 90% of the crop was lost to open ground and cold temperatures. We've had drought disasters. We've had heat disasters where the berries literally just cooked on the bushes because it was in the 90s for a week straight. We've never had hail, and we've never had excessive rain damage the way we've had drought damage. There's not a lot we can do about the weather problems. We did invest in some irrigation equipment back in the 90s when things started to get really hot and dry, but we've never really been able to justify an irrigation system that would seriously be able to irrigate the 75 acres we have each year. And then we did start getting crop insurance. We started out with just the cat coverage and had a pretty significant claim back in the early 80s that required us to buy up. We bought up to the 50% level, and I think we've had 2 or 3 claims since then, and over the years have slowly bought up to the present time. We're at the 65% level. The advice of one of the adjusters that came out for one of those claims basically pointed out to us that our history is that every 8 to 10 years we have a significant crop failure for different reasons. If we had bought up to a higher level, would give us a significantly higher payment back. And so we've been doing a little better financially with the farm, having bigger crops, getting a little better prices, so we felt we could afford the premium to buy up to a higher level that we're at now. Our yearly per acre averages have slowly crept up so that we feel like if within the next 5 years we suddenly had a terrible disaster that cut our production down to 10% of our average, it would be worthwhile that we had been paying a higher premium because we would get a much bigger payback from that. So that's kind of the way we've done it with the crop insurance. To insure 75 acres of blueberries costs us $2,400 a year now. Just gives us a little bit of peace of mind that if we do get some weather-related disaster in the winter, we know that the inputs we've put into that crop that's coming will at least get back what we've got into it in terms of a payment. The other thing that's really nice, and I feel like I need to say it, is you don't pay the premium until after the crop is in. To have to prepay this premium would be a little bit harder than having to pay it in October. We've been with him for a really long time, and anytime we have questions, he's very available. So I guess he's very proactive, and we like that. They want to keep your production records forever. And if you have a claim, they want your production records for the year the claim is on, and you've got to have your receipts, and you've got to keep track of everything. And for us it was a little more difficult because when we started having it, we had started up our fresh pack operation, which I didn't have doc receipts or anything because it was all on the farm. But I keep daily production of how many field boxes I bring in and how many I process and how many 5 and 10 pound boxes I get out of it. They accepted that as production records. So for me it wasn't that hard, but if you weren't keeping those records for other acreage reports and things like that for other agencies, you'd have to start figuring out how to do it. With me it wasn't that big of a leap. Because our farm is one unit and it's all in one place, we're lucky. We do have an acreage report that breaks our field up into probably 10 or 12 different fields. Half of them are on a prune cycle and half of them are on a crop cycle. All they want to know at the end of the year, if we're putting in a crop insurance claim, is how many pounds we harvested and did we harvest all of it. You're supposed to call and report it to your agent. And so let's say that it's January and we've got bare ground because we haven't had any snow, and for a week straight it goes to 35 below every night. There's howling winds during the day and it doesn't get above 0. So I would call the agent and say, geez, it's been 25 below, 30 below, the wind's been howling. When you call the agent, he says, I'll report the claim, and then I get a call a few days later from the adjuster saying, is there anything to take pictures of, or anything? And I say, no. And they say, well, see what happens when you harvest it. The few years that it was a real disaster, the money that we got certainly helped our bottom line. We're setting ourselves up in the future because we bought up to the 65% level. I'm not saying we would have gone under if we hadn't had the crop insurance, but I guess it helps me sleep better at night. So it's a farm-to-farm decision, but I would encourage people to have it and to just see how it goes and then decide if they want to do more or less than they do. But certainly the cat coverage is reasonable enough that it's not a burden to most people that are operating. And keep good records.